Copland is a 1997 drama thriller crime film directed by James Mangold. It's a star-studded cast. Okay, it stars Sylvester Stallone, Harvey Keitel, Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, Peter Berg, Janine Garofalo. Frank Vincent has a minor role in it. Robert Patrick, John Spencer, who's one of those. Hey, it's that guy. What's his face? Yeah, it's a pretty big star-studded cast. Might not remember the name James Mangold. He's the guy that did A Girl Interrupted and 310 to Yuma, the remake, and Ford versus Ferrari from 2019. So it seems like all could go well in a picture like this. When I was younger, I used to love this film because it's pretty complex. There's lots of big name celebrities in this, and Sylvester Stallone gives what is his best performance since the Rocky films. I would say that Sylvester Stallone in all the Rocky films are perfect because it's really the bookends. Like Rocky 1 and 2, he's great, and in the Creed movies, he's great. But in the middle Rocky films, he is good, but nothing really huge with those. And Copland is his best since probably the original Rocky film from 1976. He is just brilliant in it. He's really calm and cool, and doesn't really play. He doesn't play at all his usual tough guy action shtick, which was really good change in pace. It really shows his acting chops. Stallone can't do every kind of genre. He's tried comedy, he's failed at it. He's tried action, he succeeded for the most part, but yeah, that's one of his main areas of expertise is action. And he usually does drama as well. I mentioned Rocky. I haven't seen Fist or Paradise Alley, but I'm sure he's okay in those ones too. But in Copland, I'm sure safe to bank that it's his finest thing since Rocky, performance-wise, that is. But the film itself is it is good, but it's nothing that's huge. The movie is about Freddie Heflin, who's played by Stallone. He lives in this small town just across the river from New York City called Garrison, which is New Jersey. And it's primarily inhabited by the NYPD. What happened was, like 20 years ago or something, there was mafia connections between the New York police but there was mafia connections with the New York police, and they decided to build them this small town just across from New York, where they had easy access to the big city. And out comes Garrison, which is also known as Copland. Sylvester Stallone, well, Freddie Heflin, has always wanted to be a regular policeman. But when he was younger, he was he tried to save this girl from a car accident. Her car careened off the edge of a bridge, and he saved her but left him deaf in one ear. So because of his hearing disability, he was never able to become a regular policeman. Instead, he gets elected sheriff of Garrison. So he's still law enforcement, he's just not a regular cop, and he can't actually be anything big in New York City. He's always grown up idolizing policemen, and he's really good friends with guys like Ray Donlin, who's played by Harvey Keitel, and and Keitel's best friend, who's played by Robert Patrick, and Ray Liotta's character Ray Figsy. He's he's always very calm and cool, and he really doesn't think that there's anything wrong with the place. He's always trusted Keitel and Liotta and Patrick with everything. So everything seems to be going okay. It's a small town, not really a whole lot of crime happens. All the major crime happens in New York. Early in the movie, Michael Rappaport's character, whose name is Murray Babbage, is coming home from a bachelor party, and he's in this high speed pursuit. There are these two black speeders. They run into his car, and he pulls out a gun and kills both of them. And while he kills them, there's this big crash that happens with their cars, ruining everything. Keitel, well, Ray Donlin is Babbage's uncle, and they decide to cover up the whole thing by having Babbage fake his own death, jumping off a bridge. Everyone knows that that Babbage's death is a big hoax. His body never hit the water or anything. No body ever got washed away on shore. And there's this guy from IA named Mo Tilden, who's played by De Niro. And because he knows so well that the death of Babbage is a big hoax, he gets Heflin to dig deep into the case. He knows that Heflin's always wanted to be a regular cop, and there's this chance to do something big, investigate the hoax of Babbage. Thing is, Freddy thinks that there's really nothing wrong with his friends. But there's one day where okay. Because everything's been going on so wild with trying to cover up Babbage's death, Ray and his friends eventually have to have him X'd out. And that leads Babbage to show up to Freddy's place seeking help. And it's finally seeing Babbage alive that makes Freddy dig deep into Garrison, New Jersey's past and really try to uncover the dark secrets that his best friends have plagued. And when he looks into it and he sees all the mafia connections and just how dishonest everyone in town really is, he's just in shock, and he wants to take Babbage and send him in and take him to the big city, have him turn himself in. All will be put back to normal. Now that's a pretty long summary there. There's a couple of spoilers there, but I recommend that this video be viewed by anybody that's seen the film before. There's see, when I was younger, this is a pretty complex film. The thing that I liked about it at the time was that because it is complex, when you're actually able to follow everything and put everything together, that it kind of feels good afterwards. As of now, it doesn't really feel all that rewarding. There's the story just... There's nothing wrong with all these stories happening together, like having multiple stories all at once. There's nothing wrong with lots of plot points and everything, but the way that it's presented in Copland, it just feels all over the map. It doesn't really feel all that clear and concise about things. But it's not really hard to get, it's easy kind of easy to get lost in, but you're able to really get back into the clear context of everything. But it doesn't really feel all that rewarding when you're able to put everything together. There are some instances of kind of sloppy writing, like when Freddy tries to take Babbage to when she tries to turn him in. That was pretty sloppy, kind of bad writing there. But the acting by our main characters, especially like the big surprises in the film, were De Niro and Liotta. Ray Liotta's best known thing is Goodfellas. A lot of people will say that that's his best performance. No. His best performance, without question, is Copland. I still think that both Stallone and Liotta should have been nominated for Oscars for this. Everyone's known that Stallone, given the good enough performance, given the good enough film, can do a good performance. Like Rocky's a perfect example of that. And he was just perfect playing as just a normal, quiet, subdued guy in Copland. But Liotta, on the other hand, is more intense. He's more he's more strict. He's a little bit more wild than De Niro's character. It's more intense, but the way that Liotta does it is very well done. Like, he's a lot better in I'm not saying that Copland at all is better film than Goodfellas. It isn't. But Liotta's performance as Ray Figsy is a lot better than his performance as Henry Hill in Goodfellas. Nowadays at the Oscars, more people are nominated for for the acting categories. More people are nominated than they were back in the. Well, at least that's from what I can remember. There was one year where there was like a whole bunch of different nominees, and it was just crazy. Yeah, I don't really remember how the nominees are now, but if they were to give a couple more people some nominations for the year of 1997, when all these films came out, they really should have given some, like, a nomination to Stallone and a nomination to Liotta, because sometimes a simple nomination is a win in itself, and I've always considered both Liotta and De Niro to get that win in itself for Copland. Harvey Keitel and Robert De Niro being in this, let's be honest, did we really expect anything less from De Niro and Keitel? Nah. So, Copland, it is a good film. I do recommend people see it. It's not entirely great, like I originally thought it was. But it has great performances by all. It is pretty gritty. And I think that most people will have fun with it. So, Copland, 3 stars.